Ta-da! What is happening out there in YouTube land? My friends, what's going on? Yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida, and all that good stuff. Happy Friday. It just happens to be Friday the 13th, 11/13/20. And plugging in the Les Paul right into the Fender George Benson model Hot Rod Deluxe. Running into the blue Paisley overdrive pedal and then into the Fender. The Fender's overdriven slightly, and then I got the overdrive pedal overdriven slightly, just to give it a little bit of a singing tone. And check this out, with this type of a finish, it looks like there's no flame, but when you do this, it kind of pops out real nice. Yeah. I've had a lot of people ask me about that. They would say what they like about this type of a flame burst is it's not too radical. It's not over the top, but at the same time, it's not too under the top. So it's like right in that little midsection there. This is a 2013 model. Kevin Hall, what is happening? Yeah, you know what? I didn't notice it until someone on the news radio earlier was talking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It's Friday the 13th. And I'm glad I'm able to go live because we just got, well, Hurricane Eta is, I guess, up a little bit further north. And I hope no one got hit too hard. And, but the other day I couldn't do anything live. And I was just talking to a good friend of ours, YouTube friend of ours. Well, actually, he sent a message, Jim Guidry. Jim Guidry's a great guitar player. Check him out, my friends. He's still on YouTube. Great guitar player. Him and his son Alex put up great videos of jamming, which is like what I missed back in the days of just jamming and having fun. But he was saying the same thing about YouTube. It was, he couldn't log on, and I couldn't log on. But the funny thing is, I don't know if anyone's experiencing this out there. So what I'd like for, if anyone out there has any information, I cannot give a thumbs up on any of these videos. I don't know what's going on. I go to hit the thumbs up. I never give a thumbs down, because if I'm going to give a thumbs down, I'd rather contact a person and say, hey, maybe I don't agree with this, that, or that. Or if and I never have given a thumbs down, but if I ever do, I would give a reason why. And, it would be just my perspective, unless it's something like really bad. If it's something that's very bad, it's, hey, contact that person, say, hey, you better, watch really what you're doing, because there's an old saying, think twice before you speak once, So, but I don't give any thumbs down. But the point is, I can't give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It'll just, I tap on it, and you know how when you tap on it, it turns blue? Unless they change that platform, and they don't tell me, So there was issues there. So there's a couple of people on some of the YouTube channels. I haven't been able to get a lot on YouTube lately. But I did leave a couple of messages, and I explained, hey, I can't leave a thumbs up. I don't know what's going on, Now last week we did do a gig up in Ackworth, Georgia, which is just north of Atlanta. So the video, I didn't take the video of inside at the wine tasting. It was just downtown in that area, and I had to hurry up. Everything's go, so. And I didn't know how much time I had on my phone. I wish I would have been able to take more pictures. But it was great. It was great seeing some good old friends. And Dad went to school, grade school. I think grade school, high school. I think maybe it was middle school. It was one of them. She went to school with them, and I used to teach the kids, and now they're all grown, and I'm very, very happy for them. Um, they'll still play around with the guitar, but they're seeking more professional jobs. My former student Matthew is going into electrical engineering, which is great. Okay, let me see if that's better. And yeah, no, me either. I just moved on rather than thumbs down. Yeah, the thumbs work for me, but yeah, I don't know. There's just something going on. We do have some. Well, they're older, expensive cameras, and the recent one we bought was a Sony A6 or something like that. Takes great pictures, great video. But you buy something last year and it's already obsolete. So I don't really I don't really buy a lot of stuff specifically for YouTube yet because I've seen so many different changes happen that okay, you buy something, then they make a change on YouTube or social media, or something happens, and next thing you know, you just spend some money and you can't even use it. So, and I'm a live performer, so I have to think about the shows that make us money first and foremost, and then comes YouTube, you know. And I love you doing YouTube. I think it's great, but I don't put all my eggs in that basket because when I do my gigs, boom, I get a paycheck right in my hand. With this platform, I got to wait digitally and electronically, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, but I just at this point, I there's certain things on certain platforms I simply don't trust, and that's just me. And maybe I'm old school, but I like to see things being proven that it's going to work before I start investing some big bucks on something that now it's like, hey, what am I going to do with this stuff? We got all these pawn shops down here. You can't even pawn half of this stuff if you want to get rid of it because it becomes obsolete. So I'm not the type of person that jumps on bandwagons. I like to wait a little bit. And of course, like I said, for me, it's different. Now there's people out there that this is the only way that they could do their platform, their performance, and I think it's a great idea because I'll tell you what, it saves a lot of wear and tear on the gear and on your vehicle. Because again, we drove up to Georgia and drove back down. Yeah, like 4K for the size of people's phones watching. Yeah, you know what? I'm the same way. I mean, to me, if it was the old tube TV, I mean, I now would definitely I would notice a difference. But the point being made is that that's not my thing. I'm not a photographer. I'm not into video. I do respect it, and I used to do graphic arts in high school and after high school. But my thing is performing. So in life, you have to look at what your strengths are. And you can always kind of fix your weaknesses and things like that. But if your strengths is what's making you money, why do you want to turn away from that? Because that's helping you make money. You know what I mean? And that's your passion, that's your love. See, everything, there's something for everybody out there. And I'm like a lot of people out there. I'm glad that I'm starting to find out there's a lot more people out there that's like myself. We're not starstruck. We're not infatuated with, oh, we got to do this on YouTube, or oh, we got to do that, or no, yeah. See, we have a different criteria. You see, here's the thing: if YouTube and social media were to crash right now, if it were to go away, crash, that's it, the end, rest in peace, I would feel bad because I like it, but it's not going to crush me because I'm out there playing. And that's what I mean. And that's really my first love. And that's where I've always performed. So, it's different. People are different. You know, it would hurt the new generation and it would hurt people that have to rely on it. That's why I don't rely on it. There's an old saying, have multiple streams of income. Because if one ship goes down, you can jump on another ship. You know what I mean? You still have money coming in. You got things going on. It doesn't mean to overload your mind and put too many irons in the fire, but just have enough that you can control. So if something happens here, boom, you got that stream of income coming here. And until this gets fixed, you're doing okay. But boy, I'll tell you what. I've talked with some people that if they don't do IT work, or if they have a friend or family member that does IT work, they hit a panic button when something happens with social media. And if they're relying on their business 100% for it, I'm like, ooh, I don't know, man. That's like buying a car with no spare tire and say, no matter where you go, you'll never get a flat tire, you know? Or buying a car and you could fall asleep because it says it could drive itself. I don't trust, there's certain things I just don't trust. That's all. But everyone to each their own, right? Now, speaking of traveling and cars and guitars and all of that, I watched a YouTube video, and I think this was the one video that I noticed I couldn't put a thumbs up. It is nothing to do with music. It has absolutely nothing to do with the guitar community. Headley Scott, what's happening, man? I hope you're having a great Friday, and all is well. I hope all is well with everybody out there. I really, really do. But this channel, there's several RV channels I watch. Exploring the local life, which I do like to have people, if they want to send any type of donations or anything, go to Exploring the Local Life. And if you wanted to do anything monetary, because the mom, Jessica, she keeps her video up, but go watch that the last video that was put up on YouTube, and it's titled "The Hardest Video I Ever Had to Make." Check that video out, and this is why I say, you know, if you want to send money here, don't do anything here. Send money to where people really need it, and then you'll see why. They're a young couple, her and her husband Robert. They're great people. They've been RVing full time for maybe 5 or 6 years now. They have 2 young kids, and boy, I tell you, they give us a lot of information that helps all of us out to make these decisions. But she's got cancer, and I hope she's doing well. I really do. So that's why I mentioned this. Another channel I watch full-time RVing is the RV Odd Squad, and they've been full-timing for about a year. And Mercedes and John, they're great people. Check them out. You'll know what I mean. They just got some good content, and it does help us out. And then recently is a couple, Lynn and Jonathan from Create and Capture Life. Now they just recently bought a used C-Class RV. But prior to that, they've been pursuing the full-time RV living. And actually, they're right where Deb and I are at. And actually, now they're ahead because they actually purchased an RV. A C-Class, if anyone does not understand what a C-Class is like if you see those U-Haul trucks, and here's the cab, and it's got that little thing they call the attic that hangs over the cab. Where in an RV, that's considered a C-Class. And go to their channel, because I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but go to their channel. It's called Create and Capture Life. They bought this used, I think it's a 2016 Thor motor coach. It's on a E450 chassis. It was the rental. You ever see these RVs that says RV rental, you know, going up and down the highway? Well, they bought one of those, and I've seen once before people talking about buying something like that. Because, see, they'll let them run, I think, 100,000 miles in a couple of years, whatever comes first, and then they dump them off. They sell them at a really nice reduced price. And I think Lynn and Jonathan, if you watch this, I think you guys are absolutely brilliant, because not only did you buy it and you paid cash, full price, smart move, so you don't have any payments, but you also got the extended warranty right from the get-go. If these are big ticket items, you know, these are the items that Deb will only agree to getting an extended warranty. We don't get extended warranties on that. What's a nice guitar? Yeah, it's expensive, but it's nowhere near as expensive as a car. If this was a 1959, well, you know, I'm not starstruck anymore. I love playing. I am guitar struck with the gift that Almighty God has given me, but I don't run off and say, "Ooh, I gotta do this and do that." I think. But let me get back to this. When it comes down to any type of a vehicle, any type of housing, any type of you know, like an RV or a boat, anything expensive where you're in the tens of thousands, approaching the 100,000s, get that extended warranty right away. Boom, don't wait. Because see, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to get that warranty. And just a little tidbit, my wife, she's a sales lady at Camping World. She does non-pressure sales. Now, I am not going to get into any debates. I've seen all kind of, pros and cons, and I am friends with everybody because I try to, at least I try to be. And everybody has a right to have their opinion. And if you've had a bad experience with Camping World, with Gibson, with the Ibanez guitars, you have every right to vent because that's your money. What I really am happy, and I've known this all, for the last 20 years I've been married to Deb, is she's no pressure because she realizes she used to camp when she was a young girl, okay, way before I met her. But she knows it's your money. If you're going to spend $2,000, that's a lot of money. If you're going to spend $200, that's a lot of money. You know how many groceries you could buy with $200 or $2,000? Let alone if you're getting into the 20 and 30 and 40,000 or the 100 and $200,000 range, or it's 600,000 or $1 million with some of these motor coaches and that. So it's your money. So she's definitely no pressure, and that's why she's doing really good because a lot of people like that. And this is what I want to get back to with Jonathan and Lynn. They're very, very smart. They got that extended warranty. They were not going to waste on that. Because you see, I think they said that they both know how to work on the Ford, and that's great. But there's certain elements with a lot of these new cars, and there's certain things you might not be able to work on, or you got that little bit of iffiness. I don't know if I could do this. Then don't. Be very, very careful. You could void warranties real fast. A little background for those who don't know my background. I've been playing guitar since 1974. I was at the age of 11. Deb and I are originally from the Chicagoland area. I grew up in Chicago, right by the blues and jazz clubs, right down the street from Wrigley Field. And in the 70s, it was a bad neighborhood and all that. So music has always been my life. But I did go to a trade school. I did not go to college. I went to a trade school for heating and air conditioning. And in the early 2000s, I got to get a cup of Joe out of the Joe Winch Project coffee mug. Check out the Joe Winch Project. Great guy, great guitar player. Really awesome. But I worked for a couple of heating and air conditioning contractors, and then I broke off on our own, and we got our own, business going. We took the test to get my contractor's license. Our focus was residential new construction, and Deb had a custom oak stair company. See, after Deb and her business partner got rid of the sound company, they were building custom made PA speakers and cabinets, and they were running sound. But the music industry is always like this, it flounders. It kind of flounders in a down spiral direction before it comes up a little bit and hits back down. It's like that. Well, they decided to get into construction, and was it the late 90s, somewhere around there, mid 90s, housing market started to boom. So they got on that. And if you could make a wood cabinet, you could make staircases. And I'm going to tell you what, some of these staircases they made were spirals all the way from the basement all the way to the attic. And they were selling in the upper tens of thousands of dollars just for the staircase. I don't know about any speaker cabinet that's going to sell in the upper tens of thousands of dollars, or running sound in the upper tens of thousands of dollars, especially now with the, lockdown. But I'm getting to a point here. So they had a staircase, custom oak staircase company, and we had the HVAC company. And in our contracts with the builders and with the homeowners, if you don't know it, you don't touch anything. Because we would give a 1-year warranty with the builders on our service after we installed them. And these were custom homes. Sometimes there'd be 2 furnaces, 2 ACs, 3 furnaces, 3 ACs. So we would say, don't touch anything, okay? When you touch stuff, you void the warranty. And we've had that happen a couple of times, and the builder couldn't do anything about it because it's right in the contract in plain right, and not in this tiny little writing. You get some of these contracts, you get the white piece of paper. This is like a picture I drew here. And then you get on the back, and it's a light gray lettering that you could hardly see, real small, real light. He's like, man, but this actually got the flashlight. You can't read it. No, our contracts were very legible, very upfront, very straightforward, no BSing around. So there was no mistaking. When you start messing with things you don't know, you start voiding warranties. Do not try to play the hero. Say, well, I used to do this and I can do that. Don't. I'm going to tell you something, guys. There is a thing out there I've seen called a soft start kit. Okay? And I've seen people talk about this for their AC units on their RVs. And I'm going to get into why this merges with music, okay? In a moment here. I'm glad that I'm real happy for Lynn and Jonathan. Congratulations, guys. You're smart. I think you're going to be on 30 amps with your AC unit. I'm pretty sure it's 30 amps, which is smart. You go to 50 amps. Some RV parks, there's certain areas that don't have 50 amps. You might pull up at a park and all of a sudden it's all taken. It's all reserved or it's taken. We got 30 amp service here. You got a 50 amp unit. Okay. Then you get the idea. Okay, I heard about this soft start kit. I'm going to put it on. It gives you all the instructions. Blah blah blah. If you still have your warranty, which a lot of people do with their RVs, and you used to do electrical, and you're reading the instructions, and you're doing YouTube videos, and it's a sure thing, nothing could go wrong, and you install it, and it works great. You turn 50 amps into 30 amps, you can enjoy your nice AC, and let's say this thing works for 2 to 3 years down the road, right? But let's say you have a limited lifetime warranty, just for whatever reason. I'm not too sure, but I'm just going to assume this. We have a limited lifetime warranty on this because we're the only owner. It's brand new, right? So you have a limited lifetime warranty on this thing. And then all of a sudden, you're having electrical problems that could affect your AC unit. It could affect your refrigerator. It could affect your microwave or your stove, whatever's going on. And then you take your RV back to the shop. And then the mechanic is messing around and he gets on top of wherever you install this thing, and most likely it's going to be on the rooftop unit here. He takes the cap off. Hey, someone's been messing with this. You know what happens? Boom, there goes your warranty. I had talked to one of the mechanics at the company I drive for, and he told me, don't touch those things. You could avoid your warranty. Now, people do what they want. So yeah, Jonathan and Lynn and anybody else out there, if you're going to do something like that, and they'll sell them at camping shops, please talk with the person that you're signing a contract with your RV or whatever you need to do. And just have that in mind that, see, you're going to, or have them install it. See if you could get an agreement where if something happens, it's warranted. Because you know when stuff breaks down? Like AC units, the hottest day of the year, when you're stuck out in no man's land and you're sweating, and all of a sudden you're a little bit light on cash because you've been spending money on gas or diesel fuel if you have a diesel driven vehicle, which again, be smart. This is a hard thing for me to say because I do like diesel powered, diesel driven vehicles, because of that torque and the strength. However, one of the buses I drive is diesel. They're all diesel. I pull up to the pump. One pump not working. I got to drive somewhere else. I saw another video of a guy saying he bought an A-Class, which is like a bus, RV. He bought a gas-fired one instead of a diesel because you could get gas anywhere. Diesel, you should be able to. You see truckers do it, right? But let's say something's happening and, there's certain areas you're in because you're not a trucker. You're not staying on the main road. You're going off adventuring in Adventureland. And then some of the smaller gas stations, they don't have diesel. They got gas and you're getting ready to putz out. What are you going to do? So you got to kind of think. That's all. But let me get back to the positive side of. So yeah, let me finish this real quick. Be very careful with what you mess with, because when you start messing with those warranties, you got to be very careful. I would, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about what anybody's ability is, but you just have to think things out, because once you void a warranty, they're just saying, well, that's nice, you could do this, that, and the other. However, you signed the contract. Here it is in writing. I'm sorry, we can't help you. It's going to cost you now double. If you would have just left it alone, we could fix it. It's out of your hands. We all know how it's lefty loosey and righty tighty, right? Most of us understand the concept of a hammer and a screwdriver, right? But don't try to be the rock star, the guy that saves everybody. Because if you have that small little moment of doubt, it's that little moment of doubt that's going to take you down. A wise person is not afraid to admit that they don't know how to do something, or that they might be a little bit in the dark on a certain matter, because that's what's going to save you down the road. Anyways, what I think that that Lynn and Jonathan are smart, because when you buy these RVs that are, rent a RV, they strip the lettering off of it, so now it's just plain. Now, it's an extra cost to get it decaled, but they said, no, we don't want a decal, because they put those slash marks, and sometimes they don't look too good. I agree with that. So what's really cool with this is that they could custom make it anything that they want. They started taking out the dinette. They didn't take the dinette out, but the seat that is right behind the captain's chair, the driver's side. You have the driver's side here, then here another seat, and then here's the table. It's a little dinner table, cafeteria, whatever. The dinette. Okay, they took that back seat because you can't back up the seat because there's another seat here. So they took that out. They're going to redo this. My point is, they could custom make it to anything they want. And that's the beauty of it. And now, as a musician, this is where I'm getting to why RVs and music, if you're going to be a traveling musician, is a great option to think about. Because hotels cost money. There are times you're not going to always be able to stay in a hotel. There are a lot of times that Deb and I have done all these road shows, and we didn't have the time to stay in a hotel. There were some times we did. And then she was very strategic in picking hotels that are not real super expensive, but we didn't stay at the Bed Bug Inn either, Rusty Springs and everything. So, but when we would have to sleep in our car, and this is a reality, my friends. I don't know why these people on these guitar channels don't talk about this. I question, and I don't mean to be rude or disrespectful. Maybe they don't want to talk about it. God bless them, okay? But I really think people should be a little bit more transparent when they're watching all these followers, watching everything that they hang on every word with their mouth dropped open. Oh, hey, and they talk to their wives. Hey, we could quit our jobs because he's making. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't spend a whole lot of money if you don't have to. Be very, very frugal. If you do go out there, be very, very careful. Because once the money's spent, and there are times with the gigs with this that got canceled. How are you going to make your money back up when they cancel the gig? And it has nothing to do with your playability. It's the people running the show. That's what I mean. If you want to really do music, my friends, you take charge. Your money, your show, your way. You have more control of what's going on with the expense than if you let someone else take the reins. And you don't even know who that person is. There's a lot of good people out there, too, that you don't know their financial situation. They could be on the brinks of saying, "Oh my God, we just lost we didn't get the permits. Now we cannot rent the facility. Now we got to go over here. Now we got to downsize the show. When you downsize the show, you might not be able to legally have X amount of people come in. You might not be able to, all kind of things happen. So if it gets downsized, you could bet your pay is going to get downsized. But because you thought you were going to be a rock star, you quit your job or you walked away from a business, that is a for sure income, and then you could go out there and play rock star, and guess what? Uh-oh, we weren't ready for this one. You got to be smart. So there's a few people that they found out about our channel. I think Janice Lala is one of them. The first time she got on our channel, we were streaming live from an RV show. It could have been when we were still living up in the Chicagoland area. It could have been. No, maybe it wasn't. No. It was down here. Because I didn't start doing live stream until we got down here. My other channel has been on since August or October of 2006. This channel's been up since 3 years ago, January, whatever, December, whatever it was. But okay, let me get back with this. So she joined us, because of the RVs, and we were streaming live, and we were spotlighting a toy hauler. Now, a toy hauler is usually a fifth wheel. With a fifth wheel is what hooks on like a semi truck on the back of a pickup truck. See, your travel trailers will hook up like this. A fifth wheel will hang over. And I'm not trying to talk down to people because some people just don't understand this. So that's why I'm trying to explain it the best I can. So that's your fifth wheel. There is C classes that are toy haulers, and there's A classes that are toy haulers. Okay. A toy hauler is the type of RV that in the back, it looks like it's got a ramp that comes down, comes down like that. It's a garage. And why is it called a toy hauler? Well, it's just kind of a joke. I shouldn't say joke, but ATVs, motorcycles, big boy adult toys. And I'm not talking about an adult X-rated or anything. I'm talking about adults. You got jet skis, you got ATVs, you got Harley Davidsons, you got dirt bikes. Those are considered toys. Big boy toys. And big girl toys. Now, what's cool with a toy hauler for a musician, if you're not going to have an ATV, you're a musician, you're going to have a Les Paul or maybe the BC Rich or all the other guitars, right? That back garage could be your studio. You could have that as your recording studio, practice studio, and that ramp sometimes will act also as a porch area, or, like a balcony. But you could use it as a stage. So you could pull up to some of these areas, boom, set up shop right there, and do a performance, providing that you get the permission. Okay. So the advantages of looking into RVs for the musicians who want to travel. You're going to save money from the hotels. Now, let me back up a little before I lose my train of thought here. The reason why I'm trying to get people to check this out and go to Create and Capture Life, their channel, they're talking about the reason why they bought the RV and its cons on renting the RV. They actually live in California. They say they work for Disneyland. I don't know if you guys are actually on my channel. If you are, Truth Guitar Method, what's happening, brother? See this YouTube, man? I don't know I can't see the chats. They come and they go. You know what I mean? Janice, what's happening? Great Vanzini, what is happening? But Lynn and Jonathan from Create and Capture Life, they work for Disneyland. And I don't know in what capacity. I have a friend that did take guitar lessons from me. He graduated from the Berklee College of Music. He's into production. He's been doing the productions over at down here in Florida, in Orlando, Disney World. And I think he's got to do a shifting because of a lot what's happening is that they are doing live streams. So some of the shows they're rethinking everything because of the whole COVID. So I understand where you're at. Oh, let's see. Real quick, Janice Lala, I was at an RV show and put up a video here and mention you on it with the RV toy hauler. You can watch it. Oh, I definitely will. Definitely. Thanks a lot, Janice Lala. I really appreciate it. One of the RV companies was called Living Light. They were building these mostly travel trailers out of solid aluminum. I mean, they're really awesome, really solid in that, and lightweight, so that a bigger to mid-size to bigger SUV could pull them. And they had a couple of toy haulers. And I remember I was at the show. This was at the Donald E. Stevenson in Schaumburg, Illinois. This is one of the last RV shows we went to before we came down here to Florida. And I was talking to one of the sales reps at the company, and I asked him about, hey, would you custom design or custom make one? And at the time I didn't really understand. Now I look back, I understand that they're in business to sell to the general public. To put in a request, it would be X amount of dollars. But when I mentioned about using it for musicians, and then another lady, her and her husband, they also mentioned about using the toy hauler for a kennel, because if they do dog shows, see, there's all kind of ways you could use a toy hauler. So I thought, ooh, that's another great idea. Or if you have somebody in a wheelchair, boom, they just pop up right into the back. Makes life very, very simple. But if you're a manufacturer or a salesperson, you're hearing all this feedback, it's a good idea to keep that open mind, because all these ideas you take back to your boss and you say, hey, I was at the RV show spotlighting our RV, and this is the feedback I got. So let's write all this down. Let's talk with the manufacturer, see if it would be in their interest to consider this. And as these requests grow, boom, now you got more options to sell more items, because now you're going to reach a larger crowd. I know it's kind of tough because not everybody's a musician, and it's really sad that musicians don't really use what's in here. It's not too difficult, and see these options and these opportunities instead of spending money on crap they don't need. They could do, you know what I mean? But that's another subject for another time. I'm not trying to insult people. So, but the guy at the camping light said, no. Okay, that's fine. Now I don't know what happened to camping light. I haven't seen. And all these other companies jump on the bandwagon because they see, hey, wait a minute, if we could structure our unit different than theirs, and we can still use the same materials. The supplier that supplies aluminum does not care who you are, as long as your money is legal and you're going to buy a bunch of materials, they're going to sell it to you. You got a contractor's license or whatever license you need. You're legit, blah, blah, blah. Your money's good. It's not funny money, not drug money or anything like that. It's good money. Hey, you're in business. We could sell to you. And then you do what you want, as long as it's legal. But I haven't heard from what happened with that company, so they're just like, bam, out of this. But the options to do the RV and travel is a great, great thing. And this is why when I talk, and I mentioned about this for musicians, to at least check this out, because if you get an idea that you want to do this as a full-time or even, part-time, you got your job and you get your vacation time and you want to travel and then maybe do a couple of shows, this right here is the ideal way of doing it. Now, getting back to Lynn and Jonathan, again, I don't know what capacity that you guys work in Disneyland. If you're entertainers or if you're production or you're in sales, each one is great. I used to perform at the Bristol Renaissance Fair, and I'll tell you what, you might make more money doing production than the performer, but it's a lot of fun. I digress. But you guys nailed it, and I'm so glad that you mentioned what you mentioned when you said you were going from California to New York, and to rent these things, it's very expensive because they get you on the miles. And if you're going to do the miles, you got to hurry up. And still, just do the math. The miles from California to New York. That's how they're going to get you. So for musicians who want to rent out something, be prepared. Do the research. And make sure you got that money. Make sure you got more money than you need. This is my suggestion. Because we've done this. We didn't rent the RV, but we've traveled. Go out there with what you know you need. Have enough that's good, you know, and make sure you got extra strings and all that, and picks and adapters and cables and that. But now here comes the money aspect. Go out there with what you know you need, but put some of it aside as if you don't have it. And be very, very frugal. Don't try to live like a rock star, because that's what's going to get a person in big, big trouble. And if you're stuck out there and you can't get back, you're going to be borrowing money. And some people won't lend you money. Yeah, for about 3 weeks, Great Vanzini. Here's the thing. You know what? Before Deb and I relocated down here to Florida, that's what we were going to do. We actually first started looking at what's called the Nexus RV. They specialize in C classes and super C class. A super C class is like a truck with, you know, it would be like the bigger U-Hauls, but even bigger. So usually they're on an international chassis or Freightliner chassis, and they're automatic, and usually they have air brakes. See, we know this stuff because we have CDL license, and there's a lot of our friends out there that have CDL license. You'll be able to do all this stuff. So we were going to do that full time because we were doing so many shows. We were actually didn't know if we were going to relocate down here to Florida or to Texas, because Texas is a great state. We were doing a lot of shows in Texas. And then at one point we thought maybe about Arizona because we were doing stuff there in New Mexico. But Florida became a little bit more feasible, and we started locking in jobs down here and that. So that's why we went to Florida. But we were going to do the full-time RV living because we had that many shows. And I'm glad that we didn't do it yet, because you see, you have to make sure you got a lot of money coming in, because you know, you maintenance on your vehicles. People don't think about that, especially musicians. They don't think about this. I want to be able to do that. I would love to be able to travel. It'd be great. And it is fun. It's a great experience. But part of your biggest piece of gear is your vehicle. And if you don't maintain it, you're going to be in big trouble. Now, with the RV lifestyles and all the RV channels, we follow a lot of RV channels and we watch a lot of the stuff. There is a huge community out there, full-time RVing, that now you have all these communities that you'll be able to perform in, or you might have an opportunity. I haven't really done 100% of the research, but I've done a little bit of it. And as a musician, there are all these avenues that you could do to supplement your income and still be a musician. You could teach. You know, now you're right there on site, and then move on to the next when you're ready to leave and all that. But you have to plan things out. So to me, it makes sense to, if you're going to do this, to get on and subscribe to these RV channels and have conversations with these people. You know, these are going to be the people that would be able to help you out when you're out there. And even if you're not going to do full-time RVing, any traveling musician, there's two types of people I would highly recommend any traveling musician to buddy up with. One of them is full-time RVers, because they're out there. And another one is your over-the-road truck drivers, because they're out there. Because they're going to tell you things that you are not going to even think about until you're out there and it's like, oh, wait a minute, what happened? You know? Certain detours. So GPS, we got GPS. We used to do this when Deb would do MapQuest. I don't know if anyone knows MapQuest. You know, download it and we have the sheets, you know, the maps. I mean, it was it was interesting, but we know how to read maps, you know, so we try to plan things out. And then with the Garmin, you know, GPS. And of course now with, you know, Google Maps, but you can't always rely on this, because when those signals go, now you're screwed. And it's at nighttime when you can't see anything, and you're not familiar with that area, you don't know. And there's times when you're driving and there's absolutely no lights except your headlights, and you gotta find where that road is going. And like down here in Florida, you get what's called swamp fog this time of year, and it usually happens late at night and into early morning hours. before the sun rises, and you'd swear you're in a Lon Chaney Wolfman movie. That's how thick the fog is. And if you're unfamiliar with that area, you're gonna be slowing down. So all of these things you got to think about. Time zones you got to think about for traveling musicians. You got to think about time zones. You got to think if you're going to travel from Illinois over to Arizona, or to California, there's a time change. So you might think that you got enough time because you planned it out toward Illinois time, but now you get there. I thought I had an extra 2 hours. I only have a half hour. Then you start scrambling. So all these things you really have to think about. But that would be my suggestion for any person that wants to travel doing music. It would be worth checking into. It really would be, because it's very, very tough and it's very expensive. So I gotta head out now. Okay, Truth Guitar Method, brother, you take care, man. I know you've been busy. We've all been busy, man. And planning the shows and planning all these events that we're doing. That's why you don't see me so much on YouTube, like especially last week. Well, of course, with the hurricane, I couldn't really do anything. I was originally going to have this on Veterans Day, and then no signal. I mean, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. But I hope this does help people out there, because, playing to eat. Yeah, Sean, I did a 2-month road trip solo 9 years ago, and here's another thing, bus the whole way up and down the West Coast. It's a lifestyle, not for the timid. Absolutely. I lived out of my pickup truck playing to eat. Yeah. Now, here's something that's real interesting. I'm glad that you mentioned that. I saw, and I can't find this, so maybe it got taken down. But I saw, because there's been several documentaries on busking. You know what busking is? You go out there and you set up a little tip jar and you play for tips. I saw, it could have been, because since it was a documentary, they went all over the place. There's several of these documentaries, but on this one in particular, I can't remember if they were over in the UK or Austria or something, but the guy said what he likes, and actually it was two different people that were being interviewed, and they both said, one was a guy, one was a girl, what they like about the busking, as long as, if they need a permit, they get the permit, as long as they get the okay, they could set up shop. They don't have to go through a booking agent. They don't have to do this, that, and the other. They don't have to do the song requesting. They don't have to play to get a gig. You have to play a certain style of music. They don't have. It's almost 100% freedom. And as a creative musician, there is nothing better than 100% freedom, because you don't have to be put on a spot. You don't have to worry so much. But you see, here's how you get around this. Be wise with your money, and then you can make things work. There is a gal, I think her name's Samantha Edge. I think she's in Australia. I haven't seen her videos in a while. I think she busks like part-time, but she would do this and bring the camera out so people could see. Some days are good days, some days are bad days. Some days you're playing your heart out, no one's paying attention, You see, music is not as special as it once was, because we have music all over the place. And there's a guy, Benjamin Verdine, I think he used to write articles for Guitar Player magazine. He's a classical guitarist. And he had a master class I saw on YouTube. And he said it best. He said, music is all around us. We can't get away from it. And think about it. You go to the gas station, you're fueling up, music. You go to the grocery store, music. You go here, music, 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 music. It's everywhere. You can't get away from it. Basically, what he was saying, when there's too much of something, it loses a little bit. It loses its, I can't say importance, but it loses its flair. It loses its taste when you got too much of it. Sometimes you got to back away a little bit and hit the reset button. So how does that equate with the busking? Well, this is what these buskers were saying. You know, they could have 100% freedom and they could go really anywhere and perform. And they don't have to put on a big production. But this is why some people just they don't pay attention. They're bored. You know, they want to see something else now. You know, it's saturation is what it is. And music will always be part of all of our lives. You know, especially for us musicians, it's what we do, and we supplement our incomes. We're not stupid people. And you know what? For the club owners that want to get real iffy with you, I don't think too much now because of lockdown and all the COVID and that. But in the past, where they shoot themselves in the foot, they're married to the Sticks and Bricks building. We're mobile. We go anywhere. But they forget that we're human beings too. We'll eat. We'll have something to drink. We have friends. And if they do us dirty, we could stop giving them business, and we could give business to somewhere else. And they could look out the window and watch us take business somewhere else. They forget that. They really forget that. Now, at the same time, some of these club owners, they have to deal with these prima donna musicians too. So I understand. You know, don't be a prima donna. You know, that's going to ruin everything right there for the musicians. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I was playing originals while busking. You're right. Some days were good, some days not so good. Yeah. The brain has pleasure with enthusiasm. You know, here's the controversy. You know, I've talked with certain people about this. Musicians, especially the musicians. And the non-musicians, but it's funny with the musicians. I'm glad that you were able to play your originals. If you're a creative person, you'd rather play your own music. You'd rather, if you're going to spend time learning a song, you'd rather write a song, create it. That's what's so magical. You know, I've talked with a lot of people that play in cover bands that had said, deep down, if they had the opportunity, I'm talking about some of these people who are playing these, like the Las Vegas shows, you know, tribute acts. And on some of the tribute acts, you can make some money. We were doing that too, doing the ticket sales and that. You could definitely make some money. But we were smart because I was still able to come out and do my own thing. And that's what was so great about it. And still sell my music at our stage shows and tribute shows. But there's some people, they can't do that. And they've locked themselves. Well, there's one in particular. He was in a Beatles tribute band. And he told me, he was watching me play, and he's like, that's your own stuff? I says, yeah. He goes, you know what? I'm going to tell you this little secret. He said, when you hear musicians put other musicians down saying that you can't make any, you have to play covers. You can't do your originals. Nobody wants to hear originals. He says, that's the sign right there. Not everybody, but a lot of them. He says, that's the sign that they're so sick and tired of playing covers that they wish they could go out and do that. But they've spent so much time conditioning their minds, learning other people's music for so long that they simply forgot it's a chord progression. How do you get creative? They forgot how to get creative. So if they're going to do a song that's something about Alabama, I'm not going to say, right? It's not the exact song, but it's a D, a C, and a G. How could you get creative with D, C, and G? Experiment. Just experiment. That is, you know, the best advice I could give anybody is don't worry if you're going to make a mistake. Experiment. That is how you're going to be able to open up the doors to creativity. Never be afraid. And don't worry about someone that says, oh, I don't like that. That's not a real song. You see, you got to do. You're always going to have naysayers. You know, you could play in an Elvis tribute band, a Beatles tribute band, every tribute that's supposed to be everyone likes, right? And I guarantee you're going to find a naysayer or a group of naysayers. You can't please these people. You could give them $1,000,000 and they'll say, thank you very much. Yeah, but you know what? You crinkled up that $1,000 bill. It's all crinkled up. I want a fresh one. So you can't please these people. So don't even worry about it. You have to please yourself when you go out and perform. And this is not being egotistical, but I want you to think about this. How many times have you seen a cover band and and I've said this before, so it's nothing new, right? And then someone comes in, oh yeah, and then they walk away and in their mind you think, God, is this song over? I can't wait. When's it like? Hey drummer, could you end the song quick? I can't stand listening to this and I gotta learn to play it. See, we've all seen that. But this guy tells me, he says there's a lot of cover musicians playing cover bands that they're so burned out from it that when they're away, they can't wait for the last note of the night so they can hurry up and go home. And then they open up their case and they look at their guitars and it's like the spark is gone because they've traded what they wanted to create into, now I gotta be this and now I gotta be that. And some people that works, and God bless them. You could always tell when a person loves what they're doing because they don't complain about everything, and they're not going to tell you, well, you can't do originals because you have to do covers because you got to play what the people want to hear. You know, they're not going to tell you that. They're going to merely say, well, you know, that's not what I do, but hey, good luck with what you do, and I think that's great. Those are sincere people. You can tell the people that are not sincere. I don't know if anyone looks at Craigslist. You know, Craigslist is everywhere. So you get looks at Craigslist down here, right? And you see these ads, these musicians. I want to play what the people want to hear. I want to play. Okay, I really hope you do want to play what the people want to hear. I really do. Because if you do, you're going to be very successful at it. But if you don't, and you got to play songs that you can't stand listening to, what do you think you got to do to learn how to play it? You got to listen to it. You might be able to convince yourself. You might not. So, yeah, I don't play with Nirvana, yeah. You know, and I'm not going to knock any, because when I was teaching very heavily, I would have to help my students out. And you know what I would do? I'd put all my opinions and throw them out the window, because I'm there to help the student learn. I'm not going to rain on their parade. Why do you want to learn that song? That sucks. No, that's probably what they love to listen to. Oh, that's cool. And then when they would ask me my opinion, I'd say, well, it's not really for me, but I'm not going to cut them down, you know, but we'll help you learn it. You know, I would go through that. I'd go that extra mile for them. Or when I sit in with a band, or if I get hired out with a band, I will conform. If they're paying me a salary, well, you know, they're paying me, of course I'll help them out. But now it's time for when I do our gig. So I do our gig. I'm an instrumental guitarist. I play basically fusion music. I combine jazz, blues rock, metal, flamenco style, you know, and some of the popular songs. I don't sing. I will never sing. I don't want to sing. I'll play the vocal melody and kind of make it my own. And then this is what I sell it as. This is what I do. So that when they buy the tickets, oh, I know what I'm going to get. So if they buy the tickets, they don't like instrumental music, we'd say, well, at least, you know, give it a chance. If you don't like it, at least you tried it, right? But then you get to some of these places, like the bar scene, you gotta play what we want to hear. No, see, you gotta sing. No, and you gotta do it. I'm like, okay. I told this one guy, I says, I'll tell you what. You want? How about you sing? Here's the guitar. You know, so I go like this, and I go here. Since you're an expert, here, play. Oh, I don't do this and I don't that. Well, I'm telling you, I don't sing and I play instrumental music. So if you don't like it and if you don't want to hear it, that's fine. We can still be friends. But no, they try to jam it down your throat and you got to this and you got to that and you got to this. Just remember in life, there's only two things you have to do: pay taxes and die. That's it. Unless something else happens, you know. And I'm not getting involved into that conversation. But my point is this. It's a matter of gaining control and getting back to the traveling. You know, be smart about selling yourself as a musician. Find out what your strengths and weaknesses. Focus on your strengths, okay? And you know, on the backside, meaning in the practice room, you could kind of work on your weaknesses, right? But then make sure all your strengths are like in order. And don't be afraid if you make them. Everyone makes mistakes, but don't announce your mistakes. You know, if there's anything that does bother me, is you're on stage performing and someone's announcing all the mistakes that they're making, all of them. It's not a good idea to do because that's showtime. How would you feel? You spend all this money and you go to see your favorite artist. All right, you go to see Van Halen, God rest his soul, Eddie Van Halen. But before he passed, let's say 2 or 3 years, 4 years ago, you go see him and he's having a bad day. How would you feel? You're sitting in front row center and he's announcing every bad thing that's happened to him in his life. He made all these mistakes. I mean, how are you going to really feel? How are you going to feel when you go to, let's say you buy your Les Paul, or you buy walking the dog? Yeah. Yeah, there you go, Beavis and Butter walking the dog. Or you buy your Charvel Jackson or whatever it is, your Paul Reed, whatever. You go to the store, you got your heart set on, it's great, and here's the sales guy. Well, it doesn't play like a Les Paul, but it's not. It's a Stratocaster. Or you could buy it doesn't play like a Stratocaster, and it doesn't do this. And there's this little blemish here. Let me show you that. If you look real close, and if the sun hits it right, you might see like wait underneath the tuner. There's a blemish here. Did you see that? I mean, come on. What are you gonna do? You're gonna put everything down like it's a killjoy, right? You're excited to buy what you want. Next thing you know, this clown's saying everything that's wrong with it. Same thing when you buy vehicles if you're gonna travel. And same thing, like I said earlier, about these RVs. It's your money. You spend but think about before you spend, and don't expect like it to do everything. Because nothing does it. Everything's got pros and cons. Everything in life. I got pros and cons. That's how it is. Focus on your pros. Make those shine so that when you do your gigs, that's going to shine. And it's not being egotistical, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's to do a play on words is fine. It's fun, and there's a lot of YouTube channels that'll do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to put yourself down all the time and you can try to sell yourself out there, and you can start shooting for like high-end gigs and things of that nature, and when people got some bucks and they want to, and you're going to go out there, yeah, but I don't do this, and I don't sing, I don't play, I don't do requests, and I don't sing, and I really don't do requests. I do it this way. This is what I play. I'm an instrumental guitarist. We give you the best service for the best money. We're not saying we're better than anybody, but when you spend your money on us, you're going to get a primo show. And if it's not your taste, then, I'll say that later. I'm not going to say that in a selling point, but this is what we do. We've got a proven track record. You could check it all out yourself. No issues, no problems. They're going to feel more comfortable, spending the money. If we've done that. We'll work with people's budgets, but we don't under bid ourselves. But we work with the budgets, you see? We'll work with people. You got to be a little bit flexible, but not where it's, you get like -5% and they get 110%. You know what I mean? You got to understand how to negotiate and things of that nature. Especially if you're going to hit the road. And that's why when I opened up today's show with about the RVs, it's a great thing to consider if you're going to do this, because the hotels are expensive. And you might not have the time to spend a night in a hotel. And we've done this where we slept in a little Dodge Neon. And our RAV4, but the little Dodge Neon. Not very comfortable, my friends. And here's another thing. Deb would be doing like 99, or I say maybe 97% of the driving. And the reason being is because I had to be the performer. There's something that is to be said about when you take control. It's not easy. You have to think this out. It is not easy. Be prepared for it. Do it in short spurts. So here's another advice I would give anyone who would want to do this full time and travel. Start to travel. Try to get all those corporate gigs. Try to get those actual, for hire gigs, because it's going to be a for sure thing. Your festivals, be very, very careful. Expect to go in a festival not winning so much. And I'm not trying to be a downer. Financially expect it. so that if you win, wow, that's a great surprise. I'm prepared for it. You're not stopping at every music store buying the most expensive gear so you could show that you're the big shot on stage, and then you get to the stage, show got canceled. Sorry. It happens. It happened to us. Not that we were the big shots to buy gear, but the cancellation happened. Driving from Illinois all the way down to San Marcos, Texas, and it got canceled. You know how far that is? I'm not going to do the math. I'd have to look it all up, But it's very far. And we drove in a little Dodge Neon with the half stack in the back. The seats were pushed down. All the gear was in the back. And Deb and I, we were able to sit upright like this. And then when we got to the rest area before, because we usually try to pull over, get a little rest, we were able to get at the rest area or the truck stop, preferably a truck stop, and then move a little bit of stuff down so the back of the seat could go from this angle to a little bit of that angle so you could get some sort of shut-eye. Because, you're human. And this is what I mean. With the RV, you go in the back of it and kind of, rest. So that's why I speak so highly about the RV channels and people who run those. And again, like I said earlier, check out, they're called Create and Capture Life. If anyone is ever interested in it, they just bought their first RV, so they're a step ahead of Deb and myself. But it's very inspiring. And I'm very happy for them because you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to try to fit in with the Joneses, keep up with the Joneses. Yeah. They got the Helix effect pedal, so now you get the version 5 that's not out yet to show everyone that, hey, I'm more important. That's bullcrap. Everybody's important. You know what's going to make... The guitar's not going to play itself. See, I hold it. You hear anything? No, you don't, right? Doesn't matter what it's made out of. You got to make it. You got to be the one pulling the strings. You the one that's got to do... No one's going to do anything for you. And if they are, be thankful, but on the backside... have it in the back of your mind that, hey, that free ride could get shut down too. You know what I mean? So always be prepared because it's very fun to be able to travel. Especially with music, since it's a guitar channel, But you got to be prepared, man. I know I see, and I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody because I'm in their corner. I really wish them the success beyond success. But when you're young, you got time on your side. But it's not going to take long to figure out, especially, I think this COVID thing has been a wake-up call for everybody because even the stars can't go out and play. Now, unless you go out and do some of the smaller gigs, which is what we're able to do. And I mean, they're like real small, but I respect those gigs as if it's the Coliseum because I respect those people. You know what I mean? But when they put themselves in a high lifestyle bracket, with, all these expensive living, well, then they need to get that money. Otherwise, it costs more to go out than what it's worth. But, you have to be prepared for anything that happens. So when I see people that say, nope, I don't need a backup plan, I'm good to go. Yep. I really hope it works out for you. I really, truly do. You need to talk to people that it didn't work out. And they're talented. They're more talented. You talk and look at some of these people that play like, why didn't you make it? What's going on? And that's when you find out there's a lot more to this whole big picture, and you got to be prepared. You have to be prepared. Because I'm telling you, there are people out there that, for whatever reason, they hog. They hog the pot of gold, and they'll tell you they're gonna tell you the secret ways of becoming rich. And if you see these YouTube videos, I see it come up on the feed. The guy's standing there with like a wad of $1,000 bills. He's got a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead. He's in front of his private Learjet with a picture of a yacht. And he made all this money by selling a cornflake. You know what I mean? A golden cornflake or something. And he's going to teach everybody how to be wealthy. When you listen to these people talk, just out of curiosity, watch them dance around words. You know where they're getting their money from? Conning other people to buy their crap. That after you buy video number 13, you find out that there's nothing different said on video 13 at the end of the video, the closing segment, the closing statement on the very last video, nothing different than on the beginning of the very first video. It's all talking points in between. And they wow people and they suck them in. And they sell money. That's how they're getting. That's how they're making their money. Because see, if it was that easy, they wouldn't be making that money. They'd be standing in front of a kayak from Walmart. Really, because that's how much money. Because everyone would be making all this money, right? So I didn't mean to go on a tangent there, but I'm just basically saying, just be very careful. It really does sometimes bother me that I don't see sincerity enough from some of these bigger channels, and I really, really wish they would. And they don't have to, and I'm not going to fault them because they're not therapists and they're not financial advisors or anything like that. But they really do need to see that if they get all these people following them, they hang on every word that's being said, at least have the decency to say, look, if your financial situation is this, do what you need to do so you don't put yourself in a bad situation. Because there's nothing worse than when you see older people in bad financial situations because they listen to some crackpot tell them everything's easy. Push a button, it's done. That's fantasy world, man. But okay, guys, so I really appreciate everyone tuning in. And again, like I said, check out Create and Capture Life because they got a very interesting. They're going to have another video, I think, more of the transition onto their C-Class RV. And it's something for musicians to think about. If this whole COVID thing has changed everything, so it might come back around where you could start doing smaller gigs where you're out on the road, but you could make some money if you're smart, doing things strategically. One way is if you don't have to stay in an expensive hotel, don't. Anyways, my friends, I really appreciate all your support. You guys are totally awesome. You ever check out the RV and Nomad channel? Oh, you know what? I have, Janice. I'm glad you said I have. And yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. I played the guitar. Yeah, I ran out of time. You know what? Liam, I got more videos coming up where I'm just really going to town on the guitar where there's no talking. So yeah. I think on some of the other live streams, I'll be doing a lot more playing. But I really wanted to kind of touch on these subjects because, again, we were up in just north of Atlanta, so we got some things coming up. We'll tell people about when the time comes. But getting back to Randy Tritt, what is happening, brother? I'm just getting ready to sign off, man. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. But yeah, the Nomad channel, yeah. There's some really interesting channels out there, Janice. There really is, and it's you know what I think what it is with the RV lifestyle. It's very similar to a musician's lifestyle. It's the feeling of having freedom, and man, I'll tell you what. There's nothing like having that feeling of freedom. But you see, it does cost. It's the money aspect of it. That's why you just gotta So like Deb and I are doing, this might take us 10 years for RV. Who knows? But we're trying to do it very strategic so we don't run out of money because I'll tell you what, you got to be prepared. Good to see you, bro. Hope you have a rock. You too, man. Hey, guys, I really appreciate you all tuning in. Dale Palmer, what's happening, man? I really appreciate that. Really, really appreciate that. I'm not a know-it-all, and I hope if it ever comes across, I apologize. I just share the experiences that we've gone through, and we will continue to go through. And you know what? You might be able to do the same thing, and maybe you won't go through these certain situations, and that's fine. But I really believe that's important to bring out to the forefront. Hey, Zach Thong, what is happening? Because when it's when people are. What stops people from doing things is the unknown. If you got somewhere where someone has, hey, I've had this experience, keep this thought in mind when you go out there. And if it doesn't happen, you'll be all right. I appreciate that, Great Vanzini. Really, really appreciate that. I think all of us, you know, you guys inspire me a lot because what happens, what we're doing is we're sharing our life's experiences. And this is one way of helping people so they don't put themselves in a bad situation. And when you're in a bad financial situation, that could really start a downward spiral, you know. And we hope that never happens to anybody. But we always try to come on to help each other, give them that coax. You know, sometimes the gift of giving, if it's not money, it could be something as simple as advice. You know, good, sound advice that's honest. I think people like the honesty the best because, you know, that's what's really going to help a person, you know. So, like I said, I don't know everything. This is the things we've gone through. Hopefully, they help people out there. Anyways, my friends, you have a great rest of the weekend. We'll see what we could do. I have some projects I have to work on Sunday. And if I get a little time, maybe I'll put some videos up now. But anyways, until next time, my friends, you stay safe. Thank you so much for tuning in. You stay safe. You stay true. Rock on and God bless you, my friends. Take care.